Today let's see if this is working. Yes, it is. So today I am going to do um, one page of the 2011 Form 1MC ACT Math uh, for a tutorial. So let's start on ahead. Kaya ran 1 2/5 miles on Monday and 2 1/3 miles on Tuesday. What was the total distance in miles Kaya ran during those 2 days? All you got to do is add 1 2/5 plus 2 1/3. Well, you might be wondering, well, how do I do that? I mean, 1 2/5, 2 1/3. They both have different denominators. Well, we have to do something called LCD. We have to find the least common denominator. And in this case, the way we do that is just see which multiples of 5 and 3, what is the least common multiple between 5 and 3? Well, we simply multiply them. And that's the case with most um, situations for LCD, but there are some different cases in which it's not as simple as multiply. But in this case, it's just as simple as multiplying 5 and 3 together, and we get 15. So 1 2/5, what does that equal to? 1 2/5 equals 1 and x over 15. Well, Well, in this case, you have to change 2/5 to something over 15. So in order to do this, 5 times 3 equals 15. Well, in that case, 2 times 3 equals 6. So 1 and 6 over 15 is the same thing as 1 and 2/5. If I can just find my thing, yeah, 1 and 6 over 15. You do the same process for 2 1/3. In this case, 2 1/3 equals 2 and x over 15. What is x? You just want to know what that is. Well, here you have to multiply 3 by 5 to get 15. So times 5. So you have to multiply the top by 5 too. So 1 times 5 times 5. That equals 5. So 2 plus 2 and 5 over 15. And before you know it, you add 2 plus 1 is 3. And then the fractions, 6 over 15 plus 5 over 15, that's 11 over 15. 3 and 11 over 15. So the correct answer for this is E, 3 and 11 over 15. Okay, so let's go to the next problem. I'm going to have to copy and paste this one. New. Here is a pretty simple problem. Enlarge it. 3x cubed times 2x squared y times 4x squared y is equivalent to the way we do this is we simply multiply like terms by like terms. And remember that when you're multiplying exponents, say we have x to the power y plus, well, okay, let's not use x in this case because that's kind of confusing. So remember that in order to multiply like terms in this case, in multiplying exponents, the formula essentially is a to the b times a to the c equals a to the b plus c. A to the power b plus c. Remember that. Okay, so what does all this mean? Essentially, it means that in this case, when you multiply 3x cubed times 2x squared y, you multiply 3x cubed times 2x squared and then leave the y there. So 3x cubed times 2x squared, what is that? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. X cubed times x squared. What's x cubed times x squared? X cubed a to the b times a to the c. X squared equals x to the power 3 plus 2, or x to the power 5. And then that makes it 6x to the power 5y. Right? And then you have to multiply 6x to the power 5y times 4x squared y. And then you multiply 6 times 4 is 24, x to the power 5 times x to the power 2, and then y times y. So 6 times 4 is 24. If I could just 24 x to the power 5 times x to the power 2. Remember, x to the power 5 times x to the power 2 is x to the power 5 plus 2, which is x to the power 7. And y times y is just y to the power 1 plus y to the power 1, which is y to the power 2. So in this case, we get h, 24 x to the power 7 y squared. Okay, that's good. So now, let's cut all this out. Cut. And let's do the third problem in this page. New. We might need a calculator for this problem. Mr. Dietz is a teacher whose salary is $22,570 for the school year, which has 185 days. In Mr. Dietz school district, substitute teachers are paid $80 per day. If Mr. Dietz takes a day off without pay and a substitute teacher is paid to teach Mr. Dietz's class, how much less does the school district pay in salary by paying a substitute teacher instead of paying Mr. Dietz for that day? Let's think about this. Mr. Dietz is a teacher whose salary is $22,570. That means annually for this school year, and it has 185 days. Mr. Dietz school district substitute teachers are paid $80 per day. If Mr. Dietz takes a day off without pay and a substitute teacher is paid to teach Mr. Dietz's classes, how much less does the school district pay in salary by paying a substitute teacher instead of paying Mr. Dietz for that day? Okay, so let's start by dividing 22,570 by 185. Why? Because we want to see the amount per day that Mr. Dietz gets. Divided by 185. So per day he gets $122. So if a substitute is paid $80 per day and Mr. Dietz takes one day off, 122 minus 80, you subtract 80 from the amount per day that Mr. Dietz gets, and you get $42. That's it. It's A. So how much less does the school district pay in salary by paying a substitute Teacher, instead of paying Mr. Dietz, it's A, 42. Okay, and this is going to be the last problem for this video, since it's one page. Let me just cut this out. Let's go to the next problem. Wait, cancel. This final problem here. So far, a student has earned the following scores on the 400-point tests this grading period: 65, 73, 81, and 82. What score must a student earn on the fifth and last 100-point test of the grading period to earn an average test grade of 80 for the 5 tests? Okay, so how do we get an average test grade? So let's say that we have we have 65, 73, 81, 82. In order to get an average, you do 65. Now let's do this in WordPad. In order to get an average, you do 65 plus 73 plus 81 plus 82 plus x. X is the number that the score that they're going to earn on the fifth and last 100-point test, and you divide that by the number of tests that we have, which is 5 in this case. So this does not look good. I'm just gonna so essentially 65 plus 73 plus 81 plus 82 plus x over 5 equals 80. So this is the algebra problem that we set up. Now, typically I like to use a calculator. Let's switch this to a scientific calculation. And so from here, all I got to do is multiply 80 times 5. We're solving for x, remember, so we get 400 from there, right? 80 times 5 is 400. And then we want to subtract 65, 73, 81, and 82 to get x. So we want to subtract this amount over here. And when we do that, let's x out of this, minus 65 plus 73 plus 81 plus 82, and when we do this we get a 99. So the answer is J, 99. Thank you for this for joining me on this first tutorial, and I hope that the next few tutorials will be a little bit better than this one.